I'm sitting out in front of AP house to confront him. Today, I'm facing my wife's affair partner. 3 months ago, I caught them and questioned her about the affair. She apologized excessively and told me she still wanted to be with me, that she wanted to salvage our marriage, that she wanted to go to therapy and so on. We've gone to couples and individual therapy. She said all the right things outwardly. She loves me and only me, she wants to solve things, she doesn't want a divorce, and so on. She granted me access to her phone, but warned me not to go through it too closely. She vows on her life that she's on the right track to restoring our damaged trust. But she's still seeing him. I discovered it and kept it to myself. I want to serve her divorce papers tomorrow, but before I'll confront her AP to find out what other falsehoods she's been telling me. I'm sure they've chatted on the phone a dozen times since I informed her she had to go no contact. She swears she hasn't spoken to him, but the phone records don't lie. They text almost every day. She's definitely deleting them since I haven't seen them on her phone. But she doesn't realize that deleting them on her phone doesn't mean they're gone from her iPad. So I'm sitting in a vehicle outside his home right now, waiting for him or his wife to depart for work. If he goes, I'm going to follow him to his workplace and confront him there. If she doesn't leave first, I'm going to knock on his door. Update. I'll begin with the previous night. I arrived home from work, prepared supper, and sat down to eat. My wife inquired about my day. Uneventful, I reasoned. That was all there was to it. We ate, played with the kids, and put them to bed as if nothing had happened. She sat in our bedroom with me to watch TV and said nothing. For about 2 hours. Finally, after our concerts had concluded, she spoke. I'm going to bed, she says. That was the end of it. There is no conflict. There is no debate. Nothing. She went to bed, and I remained up for a couple of hours playing video games before going to bed myself. I slept like a slug and awoke at 5:00 a.m. I wanted to serve her today because we had a marriage counseling session during the lunch hour. I had previously told our therapist what I planned to do, so when we sat down and began the session, I didn't waste any time. I spoke with AP yesterday, I said. Yeah, I spoke to him as well, she says. Yeah, I know, I say. I don't understand it, she says. What makes you think you go speak to him? Because I wanted answers to certain questions I had. And you weren't being truthful with me, I said. Oh yeah, she says. So what did he say to you? Honey, he sold you down the river, I said. What does it mean, she asks. He told me everything about what you've been up to. The skulking around. The clandestine gatherings. Calls from the lovey-dovey kind. Everything. She was taken aback. Did he tell you? Yeah, everything, I said. I then proceeded to enumerate all of the facts I already knew about their messages, calls, meetings, dates, hours, and so on. She began to. It's evident to me that although you've been telling me one thing, your actions tell an entirely different tale. So I'm finished. What do you mean you're done, she asks. I want a divorce, I say as I deliver her the divorce paperwork. She peered at the papers as if it were a deadly snake in her hands. She then sought assistance from the therapist. How can I repair this? She asks. I'm not looking for a divorce. I'm looking for you. I want to live our lives. I'd want to remain. Do you see where this is coming from? Says the therapist. When your words and actions tell contradictory stories, you always believe your actions. It's not the words. Your actions have told me all I need to know, I say. How do we proceed from here without fighting, vitriol, or dragging our children through the mud? The remainder of the meeting went off without a hitch. On both sides, there were many tears. I expressed how betrayed and angry I am that she would carry on this affair behind my back, thinking of me as the lovable idiot who would never find out. She cried because her entire life, as she knows it, is coming to an end. I informed her that I had shut off her money supply and that she could hire a divorce counsel with half of what we had. I informed her she couldn't reside in our house any longer. She'll have to stay with relatives or friends. I told her I was done and that there was no way we could reconcile. She sobbed even more. As we walked out of the appointment, she grabbed my hand and made one last desperate attempt to win my forgiveness. I yanked my hand away and informed her flatly that I was done with her and didn't want her in my life anymore. She sobbed as she fell to the ground. I stepped out the door and walked away from her. I called AP wife and left a voicemail as I drove away from the therapist's office, saying, "I really need to speak with you. Please call me back as soon as possible." I immediately phoned my attorney and advised her to submit the papers, but to keep the TRO on wait until things became really bad. After I departed, my wife phoned and texted me many times. I let them go to VM without listening to them. As I drove to her parents' home, I felt dead within. My phone rang just as I was about to step in. It was AP wife who returned my call. He'd said nothing to her. I told her I needed to meet with her in person, and could we meet in an hour? We agreed on a location and time after she said yes. I went straight to her parents' place and told them everything. Her mother instantly burst into tears. Her father sat there, expressionless. I told them that I loved her and tried to make it work, but that I couldn't stand by while she cheated on me behind my back. They were so disturbed that it was difficult to judge their emotions. I informed them that I would not disparage her or broadcast the facts about our divorce around our friends and family, but that they needed to know why we were divorcing. I told them that I don't expect them to support me in this, and that I, for one, want them to support her because she'll need it. This all comes back to my children. If she can't afford a nice place to live, I don't want my kids to spend their time with her in filth. Her parents can and will financially support her. I told them I love them and will miss our friendship. Before I departed, her father and I exchanged handshakes, and I embraced her mother. Then I drove to the rendezvous point to meet AP wife. I'm now sitting in my vehicle, waiting for her to arrive. I want to inform her, show her the video if necessary, and let her decide how to continue from there. I will be there to provide emotional support if she needs it. Nobody should have to deal with this alone. So that was my day. I still need to meet with AP wife, pick up my kids from school, and change my home locks. I had a security system installed at home, so if she decides to steal or destroy anything, it will be captured on film. I'm not too concerned since she is aware of it as well. There will be more. Update 2. AP wife arrived at our meeting location. As soon as I stepped out of the vehicle, I could tell she was suspicious. She attempted to play it off as kindly as she could, but I could see she was worried. I informed her, "I have something important to tell you. It won't be pleasant or easy to hear, and I'm sorry that this is happening to you, to us. My wife and your spouse have been cheating on one another." She burst into tears right away. I had to keep going. I learned about it 3 months ago. Her head jerked up, and she was filled with rage. What, 3 months ago? Why are you only now telling me this? So I had to explain how I discovered it, what I did when I faced my SDBXW, and how we were doing marital therapy to preserve our marriage. She nodded and listened until I got to the part where I found out they were still seeing each other. Then she burst into tears once more. I'm sorry, I have to come to a halt here for a while. As I type this, I'm sobbing. I feel terrible just putting this out there in the world, as if I'm spreading someone else's misery. She deserved none of this. To be honest, I'm mortified at the prospect of informing her. She was completely unaware. She told me she was curious why I had phoned her, and she assumed it had something to do with her husband. But she had no knowledge about the affair, that it was occurring with my wife, that I had caught them, or that they had maintained the connection after being exposed. Her whole world had been shattered. I then asked if she wanted to see the video. Actually, I have to laugh. She assumed I had a video of the two of them, and was first offended that I would offer to show it to her. No, I said I challenged AP about all of this yesterday, and he confessed it. I have a recording of our talk. She paused for a bit before saying she wanted to see it. I spent some time yesterday editing the video down since it was about 20 minutes of him hemming and hawing, lying and denying everything. I had compiled a handful of my favorite clips into a 60-second clip, which I played for her. In it, he apologizes to me, admits he messed up, and offers some additional information about their continued connection. She began weeping again as soon as I pressed the play button and saw his face, so I paused and asked if she was sure. She was, and I sat back and watched the footage. There wasn't much more to say at this time. I apologize for being the one who had to inform her. She thanked me for waking her up. I told her I understood exactly how she felt, since I was feeling the same way when I found out 3 months ago. I assured her that if she needed to chat, vent, or shout obscenities, she could contact me and I would be there for her. She thanked me, we embraced, and that was the end of it. I honestly don't know what she'll do next, but I'm sure it won't be good for AP. I truly feel terrible for her and her children. I got in my car and drove home. My phone had been ringing off throughout our talk, and my SDBXW had been attempting to call me since I had left her earlier today. I checked the surveillance cameras at home, and she hadn't returned, so I went there. Stay tuned for the next part.
Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Reddit stories.